So I've come back. Wouldn't necessarily call that an accomplishment or even a feat of ingenuity, seeing as how the last time I talked was sort of in bits and pieces. There was a little bit here, a lot there. So this is more of a coming home story since I went down to the beach and got absorbed by the dark space. I found myself back at the top of the cliff. I found myself there, looking down at the water again. So, moving to the beach and moving through that space, it became clear to me that there was no, how to put it, I wanted out. I wanted out of the chance for it to return back to normal, and I didn't want to return back to my normal. At least not in the easy peasy way of just returning my uniform or putting the uniform on the pedestal. So, the goal was to finally break my own cycle and all the things that I've done. So, the effort to go down to the beach and face these weird squares that I kept seeing after my return from the pedestal. And for all intents and purposes, it worked then. And moving through that water was like getting crushed. Like everything that I felt that I couldn't do, speak up and fight back against what I was doing instead of just being another piece contributing to the massacre of people that were otherwise treated as non essential human beings, individuals that are just fodder. Moving through that water really did put so much pressure on the fact that I didn't say anything. And while passing through there was like going back in time and redoing things, doing things that I didn't do, doing things that I should have done in a particular manner before. It wasn't easy. Every time I got pulled into a memory of the past, it was like everything that I remembered up to that point got completely erased until I came back and I did what I was planning on doing. It was like I had the will to change something, to do it right the first time instead of backing down and just stopping halfway through. It was all about full commitment. So that's what happened. All the way through that tunnel, all I felt was the desire, and more so like a love for a life that's better. Because I actually got to see it, and seeing it was enough for me. So that when I was put through those trials and I was willing to face up to it, there was something I was able to finally do instead of holding back, instead of being a good little soldier like I was before. There was commitment, commitment for something, anything to be different than it was before. And by finally reaching the end, there was something that I didn't have before. At least, didn't believe that I had before. Because it wasn't only just the love, it was also a strong drive to continue past that. So when I came back and all I saw was the ocean below, I wanted so badly to go back down to the beach and set things right again. But I already knew that there was no going back down there. The squares were gone. They were so prevalent before, but now they were gone. So instead of just standing there looking over and not knowing what to do next, I actually did go back and put together a rally to put together pressure, a list of things, different war crimes that occurred while I was there, while I was being a good soldier, the things I witnessed, the things that I had done, the things that others have done, which by writing them down and actually looking at them and seeing just how much blood was on everybody's hands changed the way I saw the things that I had done. Because nothing's a crime until somebody has to pay for it and somebody has done more than they should have overstepped, have done something drastic, which is always too late. There are lives lost that will never come back if you're waiting for something. If you've always been waiting for something, like I was waiting for something, even if my parts in all of this have dwindled in comparison to the mountain of shit that was created from all of this. My negligence allowed it to become a mountain when it could have been just a molehill of problems. This doesn't just go for me, this goes for all of them. And by the time I got this list together and I was putting it all together, I needed people to collaborate that I knew had the same mindset as myself. Some of them backed out, some of them couldn't handle it. They didn't want to be persecuted. They were afraid for themselves, and rightfully so. Even if I put this list together, there's no guarantee that what I've done will not be punished severely for, and it's well deserved. Because right now, the entire situation regarding it, since I never talk about it, or I've been wanting to avoid talking about it more than anything, is that there has always been a cry out for anyone within this group of uniforms to come forward and speak, because there are so many who have either left or have just disappeared. They haven't come forward, they don't talk. They have the lists, they have the names, they've given the orders, but none of them are willing to say a word. But they want someone to come forward. And that's all I've ever heard when it comes to news reports is they want someone to come forward. Anyone that's a part of it, that's seen anything. And the worst part about these atrocities is that we grunts were the ones who made sure there were no witnesses. Whoever was there to tell the story, they're dead, buried, completely gone. Because as long as you can control the story, then no one else could ever point a finger at you. Nobody else could ever see you as a criminal or somebody who's done something wrong, because there's no evidence of who said what or who did what. Like, even if I listed all my crimes, there's no evidence other than what I've written down. And that goes hand in hand with every last bit of those who have something to say about what happened. They won't admit it because that's self persecution. That is putting yourself as the primary evidence and holder of the information. So, of course, so many have taken it to their graves. Those who were in higher up positions, some of them have even committed suicide. And like the guy that I was talking to, he's dead. He's still dead. Even after that, he is still a corpse, not coming back. And either I wait for them to decide who gets hung next, who knew just a little bit, not enough to actually come forward and share it, but those who know enough that want me dead, or any of us dead in these uniforms. That would be it. There wouldn't be anything left of any of us, of anyone, whether they did a good amount of the murdering themselves or they were just ordered to do the murders. We wouldn't matter, because in the end, we'd all be the same. We'd all be worthy of death, persecution, of getting what we deserve. And nothing's worse than that, because you're anticipating your own death. You're waiting for anyone to be the deciding factor on whether you're going to live past this or your sentence is going to get carried out. You're going to get carried out of your house, of your home, place of business, just like we did. Murdered on the streets in front of everybody. And then for that entire area to get burned to the ground to make sure there were no survivors. With everybody still in their buildings. So, I've gathered this list together. I've gathered all the evidence. I've gathered the recorded evidence of everybody who was involved. That was just a foot soldier. Even one lieutenant came forward and a general, knowing that there was nowhere they could have gone. And they've seen the evidence to point it all at them. And they don't want to go down for it. Because more or less they were put in those positions to be pawns, just like we were. But that takes nothing away from our responsibilities to do the right thing. To be the ones to do the right thing now that it's over. Now that it's over, we can wash our hands of it and wait for some historian to dig it up and decide who was guilty, who was innocent. Why wait? Why wait to do the right thing? To be the one to set the record straight? Because that's nobody else's burden. It has never been anybody else's burden but our own. And we're just cowards, consistently running from the truth just for it to come out anyway. Whether we control the narrative or not, that's only for now, until we're dead, buried, gone, whether that be at the cost of more lives or it ends and no more lives are taken. So we decide here, and I've decided now, there will be no more lives. This is it. No need to go back to the ivory tower. No need to wait any longer. It's something that has to be done. And it has to be done now. And it has to be done today. There's no quitting or backing out. There's no reward for quitting and backing out. There's no reward for even coming forward other than peace of mind and knowing that you're not a despicable piece of shit, even if you did despicable piece of shit worth of things to others. It's not worth it. It's never been worth it. And I'll most likely be going to prison, so locked up or executed. So just another, we'll see what happens. The anomaly that had occurred over the ivory tower, over the ocean. Even now, I could still hear it calling in the back of my mind.